Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming to the Student Life presentation during the virtual open day here at EACP this Saturday. We'll give people a few minutes to join in. We have a presentation for you. We'll present ourselves, but we'll start with a little video so you can have an idea of some of the aspects of student life that we have here at EACP. The video was made by our cinema club, so I hope you enjoy. Okay, everyone, welcome to our presentation for A Glimpse into Your Future Life. I will go ahead and introduce the participants for today and the presenters. My name is Brittany Rios, and I am the Recruitment and Admissions Manager here at the Madrid campus. And I have today two of our student representatives, also from the Madrid campus, Laura and Agustin, who will be here with us, telling us a little bit about their experience and their first 2 years. They're both second-year students here at the Madrid campus. Agustin started in London and Laura in Paris. And they're going to share with you about different aspects of student life, about how they prepared for coming their first year and how that was different from their second, their different experiences on both campuses, and how they'll be preparing for their third. So thank you, Agustin and Laura, for being here with us today. We're very happy to have you. For any of you who are not aware, the Student Ambassador Program is really a big part of the student life here at EACP, and you will be able to apply to participate in that, which is really great. And it's another way to get involved on campus and to have different experiences with different departments, and then to really gain some new either professional or personal experience. So that's great. They both work with me in admissions and recruitment, and they go to fairs and they help students, and they are also a really great resource to anybody who's interested in the program. You can contact them with questions you might have, just to get a firsthand account of students who are actually currently studying. So thanks, guys, for coming today. So we'll start with some questions, and I will go ahead and to ask them. But just so you guys have an idea of what we will see today, we will cover some information about student clubs and associations. We'll have a chat with our ambassadors, and then we'll go over some of the services available to you here at EACP. And that is true while you're doing the application process, once you've been admitted, and then while you are a current student. At the end, we'll save some time for questions. We'll be looking at the chat box. So if you have any, please send them there, and we'll try to get to most of you after we get done with the presentation. Okay. So here at EACP, we have quite a lot to offer in terms of student life. Yes, the program itself is very rigorous and it has a lot to offer academically, but we always encourage students to balance that with their social and professional growth as well. So we have different clubs, as you can see here. Full information is available on our website, and you can also contact our student affairs department on each of the campuses to learn more. But you can see here we have clubs and societies dedicated to all different areas that you might be interested in. So things like digitalization, consulting and entrepreneurship, community-based. We have different things related to diversity and social causes, art and culture, sports, and sustainability. So anything that you could possibly be interested in, we have something to offer you, which is really great. And I definitely recommend that you get involved on each of your years on the different campuses, because it can really help you to expand what you maybe already are interested in, but also gives you an opportunity to really explore different things that maybe you haven't thought about before. And it's a great way to not only be more a part of the EACP community, but it also is a great way for you to get involved and meet people, which is really great, which can be fantastic for personal and professional opportunities in the future. On top of these different associations, we also have sports clubs. We have different events between the campuses and things that you can participate in every year. This obviously depends on each of the students and their interests, but we definitely encourage you guys to do as much. Also with the careers department, you'll have a lot of opportunities to go to career fairs and to have introductions to companies that will help you later on with internship opportunities. So we really encourage everyone to just really make the experience your own and discover what we have to offer and explore. And if there's an association or club that doesn't already exist and you have a particular interest, then you can create it yourself along with the help of the student experience department. Okay. Oh, wait. So we'll go back to here. So we'll start with Laura and Augustine. Thank you again, guys, for being here. I'll ask you to unmute yourselves, and I'll just ask you a few questions about your experience here at EACP. So first question, Augustine and Laura. So Augustine, we'll start with you. How did you prepare for your first year here at EACP? You started at London, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I didn't do anything special, I would say. I only followed the guidelines that were sent via email, which were very precise, especially for the visa, because when you're in London, you need a visa. So I did my visa, and yeah, otherwise I didn't do anything special to prepare. I had a couple of friends that were alumni, so I asked them for a couple of questions, but otherwise I didn't do anything special.
Yeah. How long did your visa process take? Because we do like to recommend to students that they get started with that early, but how was your experience with that?
My experience was quite fast because, so first of all, you need to ask a CAS number to the school. So this takes, I would say, a week or two, and then you have to ask the government for the visa. So I had mine in 1 month, but I think the earlier is the better. So don't waste time and go straight for it.
That's great advice, because it's something we never know. Visas can take, well, I mean, never 5 minutes, but they can take shorter or longer depending on where your home country is from and the different requirements of the consulates. So that's really great advice. Laura, what about you?
So obviously I didn't have to apply for a visa. I'm from Germany. So the thing I was kind of stressing about the most was to find housing because, it's Paris, so that's pretty tough to do. Sorry, and that's one thing that I would really recommend to everyone, that as soon as they are accepted, they should start looking, because I know a ton of people last year who joined and we started school and they still didn't have like an actual flat that they rented or a room or anything. So they were just staying at an Airbnb, which is really expensive. Yeah, so that's like the main priority, I would say. And then everything else kind of, it puts itself into place. You get there bit by bit, but housing is the one thing I would get out of the way.
Yes, that is a big thing. It's true. But Augustine, you mentioned that you were sent really clear resources, and Laura, I imagine that you were too, because once a student is accepted, they are started to be contacted by the different departments. And what do you guys think were the resources that helped you the most?
So I
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Augustine, we'll start with you. Sorry.
Okay, so I would say before I arrived, it was mainly for the visa and yes, the visa. And then when I arrived, I was very happy with the career center because it helps you find your path. For example, you have a couple of tests on the platform. So you have access to a platform called Job Teaser, and you have a lot of tests you can make to help you to guide you what you want to do after university, and it helps you find the right internship according to your passion and what you like to do and what you're good at. So yes, I really like
Yes.
Career Center.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a great resource. Along with them and student experience, they have a lot to offer students for sure. Laura, what about you?
Yeah, so I agree about the Career Center. What I really like is the opportunities they give to talk to alumni. I've been attending some of those to kind of figure out what path you want to go, because actually I'm still not sure. There's time. And for the housing, it's kind of difficult because I don't know if the watchers have seen, but ESCP doesn't actually have a student accommodation that is like on campus or even off campus, like nothing. You have to really look for it yourself. But they do provide you with some websites that you can use and discounts for those websites. What I found helpful was actually a Facebook group. It took some time to get accepted, but I found the flat that I almost took on there. It was pretty nice in the 18th, close to the Arc. So yeah, that's something I would recommend, to just kind of try and contact the community or past students like ourselves from the cities. There might be someone who has an old apartment from last year that they could recommend. I believe there is also, I forgot the name, but there is also a student organization who takes care of that actually. So you can also contact them and see what they still have to offer.
Yeah, those are really great tips that you guys said, because your experience really is in your own hands. We are here to help you, but it is something that you have to be proactive about, which is really great. But obviously the infrastructure is here to support you along the way, whether it's with housing, visas, or to connect. And so, Laura, I love how you mentioned that you joined a Facebook group, because we do have Facebook groups, we have WhatsApp groups, we have a lot of different opportunities to connect both before you come to EACP and then also every year and then during. So Laura, we'll start then again with you. How did you start connecting, like, before you prepared for your first year arrival?
So overall, also to students, right? So I didn't know anyone going to ESCP because I didn't go to one of maybe like the more typical schools or international schools. I just went to a public school in Germany. So I didn't really have any connections there. And then I messaged a girl on the Paris group chat, because that's one really cool thing. You all get put into the group chats before you arrive, like months before. So there are a lot of people who are looking for a roommate, who just want to connect. So that's what I did. And that was my first friend at ESCP. And then we met up the first day in Paris, and we've kind of just been, like getting to know other people together. She's in Turin now, so I don't really see her much anymore. But that's one thing that I would really recommend, to at least get to know 1, 2 people, I mean, you can text as many as you want, as long as you find someone that you click with. And that really helped me. As for like the more professional one, I would say just really, it seems scary, but just do it, because everyone has been in your shoes. Everyone knows what it's like. Like every young person who's kind of entering the field has to reach out to people with more experience. And also about the Facebook group, I know it sounds really old. I also didn't have an account, but just make one. Like it's whatever.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, you have to use what's available to you, even if it's maybe Facebook is maybe for more my age, but it
Yeah,
is something that can help you. And if it gives you even one connection, right, it can really make the difference when you go to a place that maybe you don't know
exactly.
anyone.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you, Laura. Augustine, what about you? How did you start making friends or connecting and finding what you needed to start in London?
So for me, it was a bit similar to Laura. So I was on a WhatsApp group, and so the first night I arrived, I knew I had to make some friends. So I just saw someone saying, "Who wants to grab a drink?" And we were like a small group of 10 people. It was a very nice evening, and so I met a lot of friends there, and then each friend started connecting in their classrooms, and yeah, at the end, I ended up meeting a lot of people, especially the first week, because in the first week, the school organizes a lot of events. So we get to meet a lot of people, and that's great because in a week you meet a lot of people and you will make friends for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big question that we get because a lot of people are candidates who are coming in or students, starting that have been admitted. They get really nervous about this, which is normal, right? Because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm moving to a big city and how am I going to know anyone? And for you guys, how long did it take for you guys to feel like you had a good solid friend group? Or I don't know, did you find that most people were open the same as you? Augustine, how was that for you?
I mean, I would say we all in the same situation. It's the first year. Most of us don't know anyone. So we all open to making new friends. And for me, I found it quite easy to make new friends because, yeah, like I said, we're all in the same situation. So everyone doesn't want to be kind of alone. So we start hanging together and grab drinks and go and eat somewhere. So yeah, for me, it was very easy. And I would say it was a great experience.
Yeah. Laura, what about you?
So I would say it was very different because our group kind of grew throughout the first semester. My flatmate, which is not in that group actually, I've got to know within the first month. I actually don't really remember how we met. We talked about that recently and we have no idea. But we were in the same lectures together, so I guess that's just how it came to be. And then we did have mutual friends though. And then my like main friend group that I had mentioned the first girl, and then we met one of the others the very first day of the introduction week, because the girl that I had met talks to anyone, which is something I can really recommend because a lot of people really appreciate it when you come up and talk to them. I was a little shyer than her. She's super extroverted. So she just like got to know everyone. And then obviously I was there as well. We all got to talk. And then we kind of added on to that from the people in our class. So I would say that the group that we have now probably came to be within like the first 2 months. So nothing crazy.
Yeah, really good, really good. Thanks, guys. And so now you're second year students, you're your second year campus, almost finished with your first semester. How would you guys compare your preparations from year one to year two? And how did you guys find the transition from your first year campuses now here in Madrid? Augustine, tell us about that.
So I would say it's quite different because you're not in the same position as in your first year because you already know people. So you're way more confident, I would say. But two different experience, both amazing. So you have different cultures, different teachers. But honestly, I like both. I would only say that in Madrid the weather's better, but otherwise, yeah, both experiences were very good for me, and I didn't see any big differences.
No, not like for you, it was more or less you just felt maybe the difference was within yourself instead of like that.
Yes,
Yeah, which is big, right? Because if you feel more confident and you feel like, okay, I know what I'm doing, it gives you a lot more security of like, okay, I'm gonna be all right. Nice. Laura, what about you?
So personally, I do feel like there's a big difference between the first 2 years because one thing definitely is the confidence part that you mentioned. As someone entering first year, you don't know what the other people are, and you might be like too self-conscious. I know I was just constantly thinking like, oh, I don't want to mess anything up, but everyone does. So like really just do your thing and be yourself. As for the cities, I have to say it makes a big difference for me because I don't speak French. So last year I was only able to communicate in English, and people outside of the campus, well, no, French people, not all of them speak like good English, so that was a little tough at times. And I do speak Spanish, so it's much easier to get by here. Also, I would say the campus dynamic is pretty different because I don't know about the London campus, obviously, but the Paris one, the main one is being renovated right now for like another year or 2 years. I'm not sure. So we were the first year who went to the new campus. And obviously, there was an adjusting phase for everyone. So the staff and the profs, and it was a huge building. It's like 10 stories high, and every story has like, I don't know, 20, 30 rooms, maybe more. So first you have to find your way around it, obviously. And I would say it wasn't as aesthetic as the Madrid campus. And here we have a much, much smaller campus where the bachelors go. And yeah, it's just not the same thing of meeting everyone in campus because the schedules are very different. Also, obviously, the one thing that I think is a little weird, not in a bad way technically though, compared to other schools, you meet friends in the first year, and then a lot of them move to a different city than you do. So you kind of have to start pretty much next, like close to the beginning again. Which for me, that friend group I mentioned, all of them went to Turin. So I was the only one here in Madrid, and I did have some other friends that I still have, obviously, and we got a lot closer. So that's a nice thing because you're kind of forced to meet new people, to make new friends again, and it just strengthens your network. So it's really a positive thing in the end, even though it might seem a little scary at first.
No, for sure. Laura, I'll continue with you then because you bring up a good point. A lot of people have that question is, oh, am I going to go with the same group to every year? We're going to be on the same track. And as you have clearly stated, that's not always the case. And maybe some move together and you don't follow. For you guys, how do you keep in contact with your friends that are now in different campuses than you? Laura, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so I have to say, I know some people who actually did change the second year campus to go with their friends, and I do not recommend doing that. I just don't, I mean, you picked the city that you picked in the first place for a reason. So just go there, take the experience. You're young, you want to experience life, and maybe a lot of people think Madrid might be a little cooler than Turin because, it's a bigger city, it's Spain. But I mean, to each their own. A lot of people like smaller cities as well. So, whatever your decision was, I would say stick to that, even if it might be tougher in the beginning to meet more people again. But honestly, like for me, I will be going to Berlin last year, so most people go there because it's just the biggest campus for third years, and I will meet most people there again. So
Yeah.
it's also gonna be nice to like meet each other and then just grow as an individual person or like with other people and then all meet together because they will be making new friends, I will be making new friends, and then we all kind of fuse together. We'll see how that goes. But I think that's also super cool. And I mean, in this day and age, we have any means really to keep in touch with them. So I call them like every time we have the time because it's kind of tough with the schedules. But yeah, it's not hard to keep in touch. Like just send a message here and there, update them, whatever. I mean, everyone knows how it goes, right?
Yeah, that's really, really good advice. And it's an opportunity. And one of the big values here at EACP is building community, both personal and professional, because you never know who could be a recommendation later on, or a colleague or a boss. And so like the more that you can expand yourself and kind of step out of your comfort zone, the better it will be for you, right? And in the future, more possibilities than you can even imagine, for sure. Good.
Exactly.
Augustine, what about you?
So I was kind of in the same situation. So some of my friends went to Turin, some to Paris, but I would say it's also a good opportunity to make new friends. So I arrived to Madrid. I had one friend from London, and then you start connecting with even people that were in the same city as you the year before, but you didn't actually know them. But then this year, you make new friends, and I think it's very good. And it's also an opportunity for you to go and visit your friends rather in Paris or in Turin. You get to travel, so it's very nice. And for most of my friends, I'm not worried, I would say, because I will see them again in Berlin. So I think it's also good that everyone makes his own experience, and then at the end we all meet again and yeah, share our experience.
Yeah, that's really great that you guys say that too, because maybe it can be that your relationship is even stronger. Then you come together and you've had these experiences and have so much to share. That's fantastic. Thank you to both of you. And Laura, you actually brought up a really interesting point as well. That's a really important part of student life here at EACP is obviously the language, right? Because yes, the program is in English. Yes, there are some classes in French and Spanish in both the Madrid and Paris campuses in second and third years. That is true. But as far as integrating and socializing, we do have language clubs on all of the campuses, and you have the opportunity to study and improve the languages, either the local language or a different language that maybe you're interested in studying. Laura, how you already came speaking a little bit of Spanish to Madrid, but how have you found the difference now knowing a little bit more Spanish than you did French, being able to maybe enjoy the city differently?
I think it's just more about the day-to-day life, really, because like the touristy things, the people there speak English. They have to because there are so many tourists. But just going to the bakery around the corner, the supermarket, and being able to talk, like to communicate properly is a really nice thing. It was the first time for me to not be able to do it in Paris. And I have to say it was pretty tough, especially when it comes to official stuff like water bills or finding a company for your electricity and gas. So it really helped that to have people who speak French, so friends. I was lucky because the first girl I met was French, so she helped me with that here and there. Yeah, it just depends because in Paris I joined the handball team.
Hmm.
And then pretty much all of them were French. And a lot of them were master students, and their English, I would say, was not as good because their classes were only in French because we also have non-English masters. So that was like an opportunity for me to learn more. And I also attended an additional French class last year, but I have to admit I didn't put too much effort into it because I was just focusing on my main classes because, you know, the additional ones don't count into your GPA. And it was just extra work that from like time to time I didn't have the time here and there. So that's just something that fell through a little. And in Madrid, it's just much more of a homely feeling for me because of the language as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. But obviously, the experience, your student life is, I always tell candidates and students that it really depends on how you organize yourself and what you take advantage of. And sometimes there's not time for everything, but it is available to you, right?
Yeah.
Augustine, what about you at London? Because obviously you already speak English and you are French, so you speak French. What did you study the first year in the language
So
class?
I mean, I studied Spanish, and I think it was great because it made me improve my Spanish a lot, and it's very helpful in Madrid
Mm.
because in Madrid, I would say even though people speak a bit of English, it's nice to speak Spanish, even if you need to ask them to speak a bit slower. I mean, they really appreciate it when you speak to them in Spanish. So I think it's a good thing. And then for my third year, I'm learning German, which is difficult. So we will see how handle the German language.
Definitely. And that's one of the other key benefits of being in a program like the Bachelor in Management is there is so much opportunity to not only develop professionally, but that you could come out speaking maybe another, one or two languages, depending on what you come in and what you come in speaking already. So that's a fantastic, especially for people who are interested in working in a more international market. So that's awesome. So before we move on from topics, Laura, you said that you joined handball in your first year. And as you guys know, we talked a little bit before, is that we have so many different clubs and societies that students can take part in, or they can create their own. So besides handball, Laura, did you participate in anything else as far as clubs or societies or events, either the
So
first or
for
second year?
yeah, so for the clubs up until now, I was the co-captain of the handball team last year, and then this year I joined the volleyball team here. I have to say I haven't joined any of the other societies. I had a look into it, but I decided for myself that I just didn't have the time at the moment. But I do plan on joining a different society that's more academical last year. I think it just really depends because for me the priority was to also find an outlet because I love sports. I love team sports, so that's something that if I didn't do it, I know I would be missing. So that's kind of where I've put my focus on. But for the events, I mean there are a lot of them. I try to attend as many as I can. It's too many, I have to say, which is a good thing. But I mean, the ones organized by EBS, for example, so the Bachelor Society by Bachelors for Bachelors, they also have quite a lot of them, which are pretty expensive because you have to, you know, pay for the entries to the places. So it just depends on what you really want to focus on. But there is definitely a wide area to choose from.
Yeah, definitely. Augustine, what about you? Have you done any events or clubs in the first or second year?
So last year, as it was my first year, I didn't want to join any society, but I went to a gym that was advised by the school, and every day there was a lot of people from ESCP, so it was very good to meet new people. And then I also did a lot of career center events, so it's very useful to, I don't know, for example, follow a meeting with consultant, with people in finance. So it's very interesting. And then this year, I am student ambassador and I am also student representative. So it takes me a bit of time, especially student representative, because every month you need to talk with your class and ask them what's good, what's wrong, and then you have to do a meeting with Nico. So yeah, it takes time.
Yeah, for sure. And you both bring up fantastic points, right? There's so much that is offered, which is wonderful, but you also have to be realistic a little bit about what you can manage, right? And as far as like balancing, you know, social life and your studies and how that can get to be a lot. And so it's important to know yourself and say, okay, what is my priority? What do I really need? And whether it's an outlet or maybe it's another, I don't know, professional opportunity to really think about what it is that you want to do and know that you don't have to sign up for everything, but that you can take advantage of the things that are offered. So that's fantastic. So moving on a little bit, talking about the how to get in contact with our student services and our student ambassadors. On the website, you'll see that if you go and you visit us at the Student Life and Services page, you will have so many resources with how you can find out more about what is offered at the individual campuses. We have all of the same infrastructure at each campus. You have student services, you have careers, you have the program office, you have everybody who's here to help you and to welcome you. And so don't think that you can't contact or ask questions. And it's a very good way to help you to prepare for, especially after you've been admitted. As far as that is concerned, guys, when you were admitted to the program, how soon were you contacted by the different departments helping you to get ready for your first year experience? Augustine, sorry.
So most of it was by email, and then they ask you to log in on the different platforms, so Blackboard, My School, so you get a lot of information. And also via the WhatsApp group. So if, for example, you get to miss an information, there will be someone to tell you, you have to do this, you have to do this. So it's very useful and it's very useful, yeah, like I said, to keep aware of what's happening and what you have to do. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Laura, would you add anything to that?
What I think is a pretty cool resource is Campus Life. I believe it had a different name last year, but I forgot. It's basically this overview that tells you, it gives you like a checklist of what you have to do before coming to the city, once you arrive, stuff like that, like what you need to prepare. Also, every city obviously has different things that you can and need to prepare. So I didn't have the visa thing last year, but there was a French fee, which I totally don't remember the name of, that you have to pay when you go to school there, which I was really surprised by. But you get the information, you get the link on the website and everything. It's totally fine. Like you don't have to stress about that. You just actually like read the emails. It's, you know, it's not that hard to do and you get everything you need from there. So yeah.
Yeah, that is a fantastic point, because sometimes it is true that, I mean, when we get so much information, people, they forget to read things. And so guys, all whether it's through admissions or through when you become admitted to the program, that all of the information is available, and we are here to support you and to make sure that your experience with us is a positive one, and that we're here to provide that for you. But it is important that you do read, that is for sure. Fantastic. So I do definitely recommend that you guys have a chance to, or yeah, take a moment to come to the website, see all of the information that we have here, whether it's about visas, whether it's about student clubs and associations, to get in touch with our student ambassadors. We have them on each campus. So maybe depending on where you're applying from, or maybe you find yourself in a particular city and you want to come visit a campus or whatever it might be, that there are student ambassadors in each city that are here to support you, and they're here to answer your questions. So you can find their contact information you'll see below. So make sure that you get in touch with them, and also your recruitment offices. So we'll take the last 10 minutes or so. I see some people have raised their hands. So if you guys have a question, do write it in the chat box so that we can get that to get the information to you. But for those of you who are thinking of applying during this year for the 2025 September cohort, we only have one during the year, just so that you know. But based on your residency and a place of studies, you will work with one recruitment office or another. Sometimes this is a bit confusing, because students think, oh, I did my admissions through this campus, that means I have to study there. That's not the case. There are first year, second year, and third year campuses that are available. But depending on your place of residency now, how long you have lived there, and your place of studies will determine the campus that you will work with through admissions. And you can contact any of us, but just so that you know. So if you see here on the website through admissions, and then you go and you find the admissions calendar, they will ask you for your country of residence. And then you'll find the dates for the application deadlines, and also for the interviews, so that you know when you can apply, when you should have your application complete, and who would be the contact person to help you. And that is true if you have questions about the application, about student life, about anything else. So it's an extra resource for you. And you can also see that you have application requirements there, how to apply, and all of that's true, whether you're applying for the first year or to come as a transfer student into the second year admissions. Okay, so we thank you so much for coming today. We'll take a few minutes for questions. I see that some of you have already put them in the chat box, so we'll go ahead with that. And again, feel free to message us any time that you have some doubts. Okay, so let's see. We have some questions. We have one from Sophie. It says, thank you for organizing the event. It is my understanding that starting from year one, the majority of courses take place virtually. How did you adapt to that academically? Laura, tell us about your experience. As far as I'm aware, that all courses are mostly presential. You do have online aspects, and you have a platform where all of the materials are submitted and uploaded for your guys' reference, so you can prepare for your classes. But how would you respond to that question, Laura?
So I would say that it isn't mostly online, because we do have videos to prepare. So every week before you go to class, you're supposed to watch a video that is usually maximum 1 hour long, which is okay, because we have like 5 main classes and then additional smaller ones. But so it's those 5 classes have 1 hour. And some profs make it shorter here and there because, you know, they just prefer to. You have that, and then in Paris we had 45-minute Q&A sessions on Monday and Tuesdays, which is a big lecture of about 100 people. So I believe there were like 4 classes put into one. The main classes in Paris were about 30 people only. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly how the numbers were split up, but something along the lines of that. And then we had a seminar from Wednesday to Friday for each of the 5 classes that was 90 minutes long, just like regular as you know it from high school. And yeah, that's kind of the structure that it was. In Madrid, we don't have the Q&A lecture sessions, so we only have the 1 hour of video before you go to class. And then here we have 2-hour classes, so 120 minutes full, which I didn't like the sound of that, I have to really admit. But it's not as bad as you think, because either you get a break in between of like 10 minutes or they finish early. So it's not the full 2 hours, it's totally manageable.
Good. Augustine, anything you would add to that?
Yeah, I think the video is very good because it helps you, I would say, prepare for the lesson. And if you have any questions, it's very good because usually when you're doing class, you maybe don't have time during the class to ask the question because you're not prepared to ask the question. So if arriving to class, you already know what you're going to talk about and you already have questions, I think everybody wins times, teachers and students. So I think it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Preparation is key. And obviously, if you have doubts, solve them in class, but all the resources are there for you. Fantastic, guys. We also got some thank you messages to all of your dedication and information. So thank you to you both again. There are some questions about how many students are on each campus. So it ranges, but more or less it's between 360 to 400, more or less. For the new incoming cohort, we will be having 980 students, if I remember correctly. And that's distributed between the 3 first-year campuses, which is London, Turin, and Paris, so that you have that. Okay. We have a couple of questions regarding the WhatsApp groups, the Facebook groups, LinkedIn, and Instagram. As far as where you can find those things, they are available on the website and where you can get in touch with how to find all of us on all of the different platforms. Laura, where did you find the Facebook group originally?
I believe I found the information either on Campus Live or in an email. So
Yeah, we do send links, that's true.
yeah, you definitely get approached by the school. I mean, you can look it up anytime you want. I believe it's called ESCP Paris Rents, something like that. It's not complicated to find it, but you definitely get made aware by the school.
Yeah, definitely. Augustine, anything you'd add to that about where to find resources?
Yeah, for me, it was the same. I was contacted by email, and the name of the group was the year of graduation and the first city. So it was quite easy to understand.
Yeah, definitely. Good. We have one more question about sports and societies. So as far as when you join them, guys, you can start informing yourselves before you come, but then correct me if I'm wrong, guys, that you start signing up for things. There is a fair that you can go and you can inform yourself about all of the opportunities on each campus, and then you can go ahead and start getting start joining and participating in that way. Is that true, Augustine?
Yes, I think you have student society fairs in September, and you just have you can wait and see all the society, and then you can join very easily.
Yeah, more or less. Laura, how did you join handball? Do you remember the process?
I think it was the same thing. I just saw that it was available, and then I went to the first like training where you could just have a look, and then I stuck with it.
Yeah, fantastic. So we do have a quick question about visas. So guys, for the London campus, obviously, unless you are from the UK, then you will have to apply for a visa. All of that, as Augustine said earlier on, he said, get started early, inform yourself early. The London team, as well as all of the campuses, have a visa support for you so that you can know what requirements are. But I would recommend, highly recommend that you get in touch with your consulates the moment that you're accepted. If you're coming from the EU or if you're coming from outside, just to see what the specifics are for that, because you don't want to make an error and then have to come late or maybe get your visa rejected. So it's very important that you inform yourselves thusly. So just keep in mind. And again, if you have questions, if you want to talk to somebody about this, contact your recruitment office and we can put you in contact with the people in those departments. Okay, I think we have time for maybe one more question. Let's see. Oh, what about choosing majors? Okay, so just a basic information about this, guys. You can add your experience with this because it was the first, you choose it after the first semester with the program office in your first year. Is that correct, Laura? Do you remember, guys?
Sorry,
major.
which one?
Your special
the major, yeah.
So
the major you choose at the end of the first year.
Yeah, so the end of your first year with the program office, and that will determine also your third year campus, right? And Laura, you're going to Berlin, and so are you as well, Augustine, right?
Yes.
You're both going to Berlin.
Yeah. So you actually choose one thing that might be important. You choose the campus first for third year,
Mhm.
Someone also asked when you choose the campus for the second year, you choose it like right when you apply. You put your track for first and second year, and
Yeah.
then for third year you choose it at the end of the first year. And the requirements, there really aren't any. It just depends. So everyone puts their first, second, and third choice of
Mhm.
where they want to go. So it first goes what campus you want to go, and then what major you want to do there, or general management. So everyone like us who goes to Berlin, they have to do general management because they moved the majors out of Berlin to other campuses.
Mhm.
Because I mean, for you, it's normal to see, but for the third year, you can go to every campus. And when we applied, it was only 3 of them. So they kind
Yeah.
of restructured a little. Yeah, so it just depends on your GPA. If there's, so London is very competitive last year. A lot of people want to go there. And then it just depends really. So yeah, but it's not like you need a minimum grade or anything, and especially like finance or math, it's just your overall GPA.
Yeah. Good. Good. Okay, guys, we're running out of time a little bit, so just a couple of questions I'm seeing in the chat box that are repeated. So if you have any questions about application requirements, English certificates, anything like that. Also, if you have been admitted, I've seen there's some questions about paying your place reservation once you've been admitted. Please contact your admissions office and they'll be able to help you with all of that. Because we don't have time to answer all of these questions, but know that that resource is available, guys. So please send an email to the people you are either already in contact with, or go to the website and find out who your recruitment office is so they can clarify for that. One question that we do have, guys, just before we go, is how your experience with the admissions interview was. Augustine, how was that for you? Like, how did you prepare? How did you feel on the day? Just because a lot of the people attending today will be doing their admissions either this or maybe next year, and what advice you could give there.
So I would say I was very lucky because I knew someone who did it a year before, so I kind of know what to expect. So from what I remember, I think what's very important is to be honest and to tell about yourself. And yeah, I mean, just talk about yourself, and I think it will work. Don't forget to smile because someone that is smiling helps a lot. And yeah, so for me, it was in French, the first part, and then I had a couple questions in English. But yeah, nothing special. It was very classical.
But that's great advice, what you give, like be yourself and prepare and come with good energy for sure. Laura, what about you? Anything to add there?
Just a quick thing before I answer. Is it okay if we put our Instagram and or LinkedIn in the chat because someone asked for it?
Sure, absolutely. If
Okay.
you guys are okay with that, that's perfectly fine. But again, guys, you can find their email addresses, their ESCP email addresses on the website, excuse me. But yeah, so
So I would also say just be yourself because obviously you think about the syllabus before you approach it. And my initial thought was pretend, pretend to be this like wow student, whatever. Don't do it. Just be yourself, be honest, because at some point I was in a group interview. So one of the girls kind of seemed like that, and I mean, she got asked one question and she had no idea how to answer. So obviously that's not the best impression. Just be yourself. Also, if you don't know, like they asked me, what exactly do you want to do after the bachelor or what do you want to specialize in? I just honestly said, I have no idea. I want to use the resources the school provides, and that's what I'm kind of here for, just to get a general overview and then see where my life's gonna take me. And I mean, I got in, so it's
yeah,
totally fine if you're just being honest. It's way better.
yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you so much to both of you. The Student Ambassadors Guide are a wonderful, wonderful resource and a great way to get involved. And if you are interested in being one when you're admitted, but again, they're there to help you because they can give you advice that maybe somebody from admissions or recruitment can't because they are living the experience. So you have been wonderful today. Thank you so much for all of your insights and information. And like they said, guys, when you are applying, be yourself. Communicate with the recruitment and admissions staff, take advantage of the resources that are available, and just do your best. We're not looking for perfect. We have a holistic process. We're looking for overall profiles and people who really have a motivation for this kind of program. If we weren't able to get to your question today, I'm very sorry, guys. But again, contact your local representatives wherever you are. Find us on the website, and we're here to help you. And if you ever come to Madrid, let us know and we'll be happy to show you around. Have a wonderful day. Thank you again, and we wish you the best of luck. Bye, everyone.
Bye.